Hi, Ben from Lover of Cameras, and this is my unboxing of the Viltrox 85mm f1.4 version 2 with autofocus for the Fuji X Mount APS-C system. Viltrox pretty much sent this over and pretty much just wanted to give a quick unboxing and my initial impressions review of it. I probably won't review it just due to time and everything, but I pretty much just wanted to give my impressions of it using it on the X Mount system and fitting it to my Fuji X-T3, which I am still using even though I have switched over to the Sony a7S III as my main camera as I use for video. Let's get into the unboxing and impressions of it. Now, in terms of the overall packaging, it does come in the simple white box packaging. It's pretty simple, straightforward. You do get the instruction manual with it as well as just soft padding foam in there to make sure it's nicely put together. Now, just remembering that this is 85mm, and on a crop sensor with Fuji's 1.5x crop factor, it does work out to be 127mm, equivalent to a full frame field of view. This does not make it a 127mm lens. It's still an 85mm lens. It's just a crop factor that gives it that field of view. And then you also have to factor in the depth of field that you get at f1.8 should roughly be around f2.7, f2.8. Now, for me, using it more for video application and the environment I use it, this is not my favorite focal length. My favorite focal length is 35mm equivalent to full frame, which means on APS-C it's about 23mm, where you get about 35mm in terms of the field of view. Any more than 50mm, it's not something I necessarily use, maybe tops up to 75mm. But overall, the lens is built really well. It feels really nice, simple, straightforward packaging with the instructions on there. It is working with a 72mm filter thread. It does come with a lens cover as well as a lens hood as well. And overall, it's really well built and it fits on the X-T3 really well, which you will see a bit later in the sense. So just giving my initial impressions of the outside going in, packaging is nice and simple. The build quality is really good and it feels like a tank, and there's a lot of glass in there as well, and it does support autofocus, as you can see with the electronic contact points. You do get a micro USB port in there. That specifically is for firmware updates to make sure that you are getting the best autofocus performance and lens performance with the Fuji X Mount system, because I believe they've reverse engineered it and it's not officially supported, but they've worked around it somehow. That is something I will say was an initial problem. I really do wish there was a micro USB cable that came in there. Why do you say that? I have USB cables everywhere. I barely have any micro USB cables anymore. And the ones that I ended up having did not recognize in my computer to allow me to do the firmware update to the latest version, because it just didn't have the latest firmware on the lens. So please, Viltrox, in the future, any lenses that you bring out in the future, please do not use micro USB. Use USB-C. If you're going to use micro USB, please supply a cable in there to make sure that it is supported. That was one part that was very disappointing for me when using it as well. Again, you won't see any camera samples here on this particular one because I usually use it for video and I've just not shot that much video with it as well. Overall, it fits really nice and it's a tank of a lens. Again, 72mm filter thread on there, so if you're using polarizers, variable NDs, just consider that it is bigger than the standard that most people use, which is 67. Now, this is pretty much me fitting it onto the Fuji X-T3, and on the X-T3 you can see that it looks more front heavy because the X-T3 generally is a smaller body. It might be a slightly better fit for the X-T4 or using it with an X-T3 with a grip companion, but this is pretty much how it looks in that sense. And yeah, overall it fits really well onto the lens mount itself. It's tight, it fits nice, it's snug, and yeah, not much to really say apart from it's a really well built lens. It would not be my go-to lens. Again, as stated, my favorite focal length, especially for video, is the 35mm field of view. So on APS-C is about 23mm, and on micro four thirds you're looking at about 17mm to get that field of view that gives you that 35mm look. That's just my personal preference, and anything above 50 above 75, it's just not something I can apply in my video use for the areas that I work with. That is pretty much my unboxing and impressions of the Viltrox. There will be links in the description below. I think it retails for around $330 US or euros or UK pounds, you know, respectively. And yeah, this is my unboxing and impressions of it. Good lens, maybe not my particular focal length, especially with the crop factor going up to 127mm equivalent. But yeah, this is pretty much it for the X Mount. Let me know in the comment section below if you have picked this up and this is something that you were considering to use as well. And that's pretty much it for me, Ben from Lover of Cameras. If you enjoyed this unboxing and impressions and you find yourself here for the first time, you know exactly what to do, man. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos on Lover of Cameras. Hope you're all safe during this time. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.